truly believe that like if you're genuinely attracting all like feminine men who like, let's say the man who doesn't pay for the dates, a man who doesn't plan anything, a man who makes you come up with the plans or makes you drive, like those type of characteristics right off the bat is probably because you are already like embodying the masculine characteristics. So let's say you meet a guy on a dating app and you are like, so when do you want to hang out? Well, that's right there is you being in your masculine energy.
Yes.
You trying to plan something.
Yes.
When instead, and if that's you, that's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to attract a masculine man, what you can do instead is just
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Just Be Real podcast. I'm your host, Marissa Tong. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode this week. I'm really excited because we have my girl, my friend, fellow podcast host, a mindset manifestation coach, Miss Jessica Tellian. Hey girl.
I'm back.
Yes. First of all, I'm so happy because you were the first guest.
Oh my gosh.
Ever on
and
the show.
You were the first guest on mine.
Yeah.
Memories, milestones.
I know. And now we're here, episode 101. It's freaking crazy.
I just got the chills.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be back.
I'm so happy to get into this conversation today, girl.
Girl, I'm so pumped.
Yeah. We have a lot to talk about. So today we are going to be talking all things feminine energy, law of attraction, attracting a beautiful masculine man, being in your feminine energy, all that good stuff. But before we get into it, if you guys don't know too much about Jessica, can you please just tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you did a great job at explaining it. I remember when you first had me on, you were like, tell them about yourself. And I was like, I don't know what to say.
Yes.
It's always the most awkward thing.
Yes.
But basically, I'm Jessica. I have a personal development brand, which umbrellas my podcast, my coaching, and all of the things. And I teach manifestation and mindset, subconscious reprogramming. Everything begins with our mindset. And if we're going to get into it, but not to get into it right now, if we are attracting certain men and certain things and we don't want to attract that, the way to not attract it is to reprogram your mind and your subconscious mind. So I'm really excited to tap into this.
Yes, me too. Me too. We have so much to talk about. So, okay, where do we begin? So first, let's talk about how does a woman, let's say that a woman decides, I want a really masculine man, right? And for some people, that might mean a man who pays for everything or who does the yard work or who picks you up to go out to dinner. You know, it can mean a couple of different things, like being a masculine man. What is your definition of a healthy masculine man? Because I think there's definitely a difference, right?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Not many people realize that masculinity and masculine energy, there's so much more to just looks, like looking masculine and like being masculine and sounding masculine. It's also a way of being. And that could be leading, that could be protecting, that could be providing, serving. The logical mind, like when someone is trying to rationalize things, that's a masculine energy. And we all have masculine and feminine energy inside of us. It doesn't just mean that men can only be masculine. Like us as women, we also have masculine energy within us. And if you are attracting men who are very feminine, one of the things could be because you are in your masculine energy. Because if you know anything about the law of polarity, it's when opposites attract. So if you think of like the yin and the yang, like you can't have light without dark. You can't have sunshine without rain. You can't have bad without good. It's a balance. And so we all have it both inside of us. And when you're super masculine, you attract the opposite. Because if there's two masculine energies, they're just going to butt heads.
It's like in a pack, right? There is usually one alpha in a pack.
Yeah.
When we think about like dogs or wolves, there's usually no room, right? So when we're talking about like being in a relationship or dating, it's like you can't be the alpha if you're looking for an alpha.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's also like, so I always was like, I want to attract a masculine man. I do. I am attracting a masculine man, but I also am attracting a man who knows how to tap into his feminine energy. Because the feminine energy for me, my definition of that is more nurturing and more loving and more genuine and more soft. And like, sometimes I need that. Sometimes I want that. And like, sometimes I want to drive the car and I want a man who's going to be like, all right, I see, like she's just like in her masculine.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna sit back, but I am like the head. Yeah. I am the alpha. So I know, like, at the end of the day, if we're driving and someone's like speeding toward us, I'm gonna protect us, using it as an analogy, of course.
Yeah. And I think too, like, us as boss women, as entrepreneurs, like, we already have to show up with that masculine energy, doing so much in our business, taking the lead, right? Making the decision. So that's us being in that masculine energy. So for most of us, I know, especially for me, like, I don't want to have to do that when I'm going home to my man. Like, I don't want to have to wear the pants 24/7. Like, I need to be able to relax. I want to have someone to take care of me. Like, here, babe, like, I got us, with dinner, or, just something to make me feel like I can soften, right? Yeah. That's what most women want.
Yes. So many women want that. And I feel like so many women don't understand why they're not attracting it.
So you would say main reasons, right? If someone comes to you and they're like, why am I not attracting a masculine man? Why is it so hard? Like, why am I always getting into arguments with men? Why do I feel like there's such resistance when I'm dating? You would say for sure it's like, girl, you're probably in your masculine.
There's so many factors, but I truly believe that, like, if you're genuinely attracting all like feminine men who, like, let's say the man who doesn't pay for the dates, a man who doesn't plan anything, a man who makes you come up with the plans or makes you drive, like those type of characteristics right off the bat, is probably because you are already like embodying the masculine characteristics. So let's give an example. So let's say like a dating app, right? You meet a guy on a dating app and you are like, so when do you want to hang out? Well, that's right there is you being in your masculine energy.
Yes.
You trying to plan something.
Yes.
When instead, and if that's you, that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to attract a masculine man, what you can do instead is just wait for him to make the plans.
Yes.
And it's also important to give them the invitation to, like, meaning, so in this example, show him that you're interested, like that you're interested in hanging out with him without saying, when are we going to hang out?
Yes. And show the interest, right, in a subtle way, but also then leave it at that, right? Like, he might initially ask you, like, hey, do you want to hang out someday? I think a lot of men just happen to be very, like, vague in, their responses or whatever. That's what I'm seeing or hearing from a lot of women in our generation, that men will sometimes initiate, but then they don't follow up, right? So having that response of like, yeah, sure, I would love to, right? And then just leaving it at that. Like, not even trying to like, hey, yeah, are you free next Friday? Like, no, he should ask you, like, are you free? Yeah. What's your schedule look like, right?
Yeah, because, the saying, if he wants to, he will, is such a real fucking thing. And, there's so many other factors that tie into it, like timing. Like, maybe you're not catching him at the right time. Maybe you're looking for one thing and he's looking for something else. Because there could be masculine men who maybe are just looking for a quick, you know what I mean? And isn't trying to like take the extra step and like go the extra mile. So I think it's also a good thing to ask yourself is like, what are you looking for? Like, what are you looking for in this season of your dating life? Like, are you looking to date with intention, like to attract your life partner, your man? Or are you looking to just like be casual or just fuck around?
Yeah. Those are good questions to ask. But I find, okay, so in the past when I was dating, like I was in the dating world before I was in a situationship where now I don't even want to date right now. But before, I would find that even like the first date, like going out with men, I would find that their response to what they wanted versus what they actually really wanted would change after like a couple weeks or a couple months. And I feel like, I don't know if it's that men don't know what they want. And also, disclaimer, we are not generalizing men here. Like, we're not talking about all men. We're talking about a specific type of man. So if we ever talk about men who are in their feminine, or men who don't know how to initiate, or men who are not in their masculine, like their healthy masculine, it does not mean that it's all. We're talking about a very specific type of man. So at that time, I would find that these unhealthy men, right, were not honest in what they wanted, and there would cause some type of like friction or disconnect, you know?
I'm curious, in that situation, did you know exactly what you wanted?
Okay, so we're going back to like my 20s. We're going back to my 20s. I would say I knew that I wanted to be in a relationship, but I think I wasn't clear in my expectations with the man, like what I expected in the relationship.
So in my like opinion, I feel like that's why you attracted those men.
Absolutely.
Because you wanted a relationship, but you weren't sure on your standards and your expectations. And so when we are like, the universe takes everything so fucking literally.
Yes.
Like what, and everything is always being mirrored back to us. So if you're also attracting a man who's unsure, like ask yourself, like, where am I unsure in my life? Like I remember recently for me, I attracted this man who, so grateful for him. I would say, yeah, he was healthy, healthy, balance between the two, masculine and feminine energy. But he came to the table so unorganized, and he was so aware of it, and he told me. That's why I was like super like grateful for his honesty. But like he straight up told me.
In what way unorganized?
Time management, all the things. And like that's another thing, like, ladies, I feel like sometimes men will straight up fucking tell you. And it's up to us to listen or not listen.
Facts.
Because sometimes we don't want to listen to the fucking truth.
Facts.
But this guy was straight up to the point where we went to watch the full moon, and I was like, so what are you calling it on this full moon? And he goes, organization and time management.
Well, at least he was honest.
Yeah. And so I realized after like things ended, when he would come through like that, and I realized in my life, like I wasn't super organized with my time. And it makes sense because I had just moved back to a new state. I was getting grounded. And so why the fuck did I expect to meet someone who would, check off all the boxes if I wasn't checking off all the boxes and showing up for myself the way I want someone else to show up for me?
Absolutely. And that's law of attraction.
Yeah.
Right? Like we attract what we are. We attract people who are in usually the same place that we are. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, like that's one of the reasons like I don't want to date right now, because I know I'm in a big like transition phase, which I talk about a lot on the podcast. I'm in a big transition phase where I am looking to expand my business. I'm looking to continue to expand my mindset, my confidence. I also want to be clear in what type of partner that I want to call in. Yeah. And while I feel like I have an idea, I need to know that I'm in a place where I'm ready to receive that. And right now, I feel like I'm not ready for that.
And not to scare you, but usually that's when it comes. Like usually when we're so focused on ourselves and we're pouring into our cups, like we are doing all the self-care practices internally and externally, like we are being our own like person, like we would date ourselves. Like that's usually when it happens. And also, like in that transition period, you said you're trying to like figure out your expectations and things with dating. Once you get clear on that, like if it's like, okay, like I poured into myself for this season, I'm ready. I'm not going to go looking for it, but if it comes, it comes. And if it comes, chances are it's probably going to mirror back to you exactly like where you're at in your life, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Like dating and relationships, when you're aware and you do the inner work, I fully believe it's like one of the best fucking teachers because they're fucking reflecting back to you.
Literally a mirror.
Like your so many things. It could be like places that you lack, your weaknesses, your strengths, so many things.
Communication, yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
Can we talk really quickly about non-negotiables?
Oh yeah.
Because based on what you said, right, it's like I have an idea of what my non-negotiables are with dating. I think that expectations and non-negotiables are different, and I'll explain why. So I feel like with non-negotiables, like these are just things that you want, right? Like I'm not settling for less than this. For me, that's going to be a man who can provide. Like that's a non-negotiable for me. And I think the difference between non-negotiable and expectation, right? Expectation would be like, okay, I expect my man to pay for dinner every time we go out, right? And that might not be a long-term thing, right? I think a lot of people confuse like, okay, well, I expected this. Same with a guy. A guy could expect you to have sex with him on the first date. That's not necessarily a non-negotiable for him because you tell him no. If he likes you, he's still going to want to go out with you, right? So like, what are some non-negotiables that you set for yourself?
It's so interesting because I feel like it's always changing and evolving.
Yeah.
My non-negotiables. But right now my non-negotiables are no kids. Like absolutely no kids. No kids. For me, it used to be, yeah. And then I was like going back with it and I'm like, no kids. So no kids. Providing, being the provider.
Yeah.
And that is emotionally and physically and financially. Like I feel safe when a man can support me and provide financially. And like for me, that's just, I've accepted that that's not being selfish. That's not being a money chaser. Like if I was a fucking gold digger, I probably wouldn't be sitting here on this podcast.
Right. Exactly.
Like if I was a gold digger, I'd probably be still in Miami. No judgment. Yeah.
I'm dead.
No judgment.
Yeah. It's true though.
Yeah. And that's definitely something I had to come to terms with. And, for the listeners, if that is something that you truly desire, like it's not selfish. Like if that's something that truly makes you feel safe, then allow yourself to like accept that part of you. And like, yeah, I have my own business. I make my own money. I have a very successsul business. And yes, I will pay for things, but I will choose to pay for things.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to go 50-50. I personally don't subscribe to that. Did we talk about that on our last podcast? I don't remember.
I don't think we did, but I've definitely had, shout out to Jason. I've definitely had a guy on the podcast and we've talked about it and I had to explain why 50-50 is not a thing.
And if you are a 50-50 person, that's amazing for you. I personally don't believe in that. And I'm not accepting that in my reality. And if the reason why you are accepting 50-50 in your reality is because you feel like that's just what it is, I promise that there are other ways. And maybe this is going to open up your mindset. Because girl, you don't deserve to have to fucking pay. That's a masculine man wants to pay for things. He wants to provide.
Yeah.
He wants to.
A healthy masculine man.
Yeah, healthy masculine.
Yeah, we have to
keep saying healthy.
We have to be specific here.
Yes, a healthy masculine.
Can I ask you why, like I want your take on it, why you are not willing to go 50? Okay, hold up. Before we get too real into this conversation, I wanted to let you know that registration is now open for both of our retreats coming up in 2025. We are going back to Arizona. Yup, back to where it started, baby. We're heading to Sedona in Scottsdale for 4 nights, 5 days to heal, to meditate, to ground ourselves, to have a deeper connection with ourselves. This is going to be a completely transformative experience. Join us for the Phoenix Rising Retreat from March 13th to the 17th, 2025. This is going to be amazing. If you've been asking about our first domestic retreat of 2025, well, this is it. We literally just opened registration. So reserve your spot. It's going to be freaking amazing. You can find all of our details on our website. And don't forget the Goddess Retreat in Greece. We're heading to Mykonos and the beautiful hidden gem Andros for 7 days, 6 nights from May 7th to the 13th. This is going to be an amazing experience if you're looking to connect with your feminine energy, if you're looking to soften, if you're looking to heal, if you're looking to really have a deeper connection with women and community and nature, and to really just soak in all that Greek goddess energy. So if you're interested and you're looking to take some time for yourself and start 2025 by putting yourself first and prioritizing your mental health, your self-care, your spirituality, your connection with yourself, then I invite you to register for our retreat. The only thing that's required to book is a deposit, and then you can make monthly payment arrangements up until January and February for the retreat. So any questions, feel free to hit us up at Real Hot Retreats on Instagram. Take a look at our previous retreats, see if you're feeling out the vibe.
I am not down to do 50-50 in a relationship because I am attracting a masculine man and I want a masculine man who can provide financially. Period. That's it.
Period. And there doesn't have to be like this long, drawn out explanation. And if a guy were to ask you why, like I'm sure you would give the same exact reason.
And there's so much power when you know what you want And with the law of attraction, when you literally put it out there, because the universe takes everything so literally, when you say that, just notice all of the men that start coming to you who want to pay for everything. And if that's not happening and you keep saying it, maybe you're not allowing yourself to fully receive it, because a lot of us women from society and conditioning has conditioned us to shut a lot of our feminine parts off. One of being receiving, allowing a man to pay and being like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like when a man tries to pay for you, no, don't worry, I got it. Don't fucking say that.
Hell no.
Don't say that.
Absolutely not.
Unless you want to stay in your masculine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And like that's literally how we pay them back. Pay them back.
Yeah.
Like a man just wants to be acknowledged and thanked for providing.
Yes. And they want to feel like they're needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, thank you so much. This was an amazing dinner. And like, let's say you went to a restaurant that you've been to before, right? And he knows you've been there. You could even say something like, thank you so much. The food was amazing this time. Like, oh my gosh, it was not like this last time.
Yeah.
It was so good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like, just showering him with that.
And putting like a smile on your face and showing that like you're grateful and you're happy and like you love being in his presence. You love being taken care of. And also I think like asking, not a lot of women, not enough, let me say not enough women ask for things. We're like afraid to ask for things. And this isn't even specific to men. I know we're talking about like men and dating, but like even with women, you know, like even when we were setting up the podcast, like you would ask me like, can I help with anything, you know? And I'm trying to be better with like accepting help with anybody, not just men. Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you can act certain ways with certain genders, but how you do anything is how you do everything. And so if you start practicing with your female friends, like let's say it's hard for you to really receive support from men, start practicing with your girlfriends. Like they're probably asking to help you. Say yes, like they want to if they're asking.
Yeah.
It's not being selfish. It's not being greedy. It's like, yes, I fully receive.
Yeah. And I think a lot of women going back to like being entrepreneurs and being overly independent, right? We've gotten in this era where most women are just so used to doing everything, paying their own bills, getting their groceries. Like I know for me, like I am carrying 1 million bags all the time. Like I'm doing everything by myself. And I think a lot of women have prided themselves on that for a really long time, like being independent, like the whole, you remember Destiny's Child?
I was literally thinking that.
Yeah. And it's like, now I don't want to be that. Yeah.
And it's, that. And there's certain singers out there now that are still like, I don't need a fucking man. Just be careful what you subscribe to. Really, just be careful what you subscribe to, because no, we don't need a man, but I want a man. I don't want to do this all by myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like something, you know, going back like 10 seconds ago, we were talking about the feminine real quick. I feel like if, let's say this at all is triggering you, like, oh my gosh, like when women like receive a lot, or like I have a friend who like always says yes, and like it triggers me. Like, do you have a friend in your life who like overly receives from people? Does that trigger you? Because typically what was that quote? My friend said it was like our triggers are our greatest lessons or something.
Yeah.
But it's like anytime something triggers you, like I want to invite you guys to like lean into that. Because chances are it's something that is uncomfortable that maybe you don't have and you are just uncomfortable about it.
Yeah. And it's blocking you from something, blocking your manifestations. Yeah. So it's a sign to go deeper for sure. So let's pivot really quickly before we end the conversation today. Can we talk about some red flags?
Yes.
Because I know there's a lot of single girlies that tune into this podcast and they're either looking to get back into the dating world or they might be in it right now and they're just like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? Like, why am I attracting these men? Like, why do I keep attracting the same man? Why have I not seen these red flags? So like, how can women, first we'll talk about like what some red flags are, you know, on the first date, but also like, how can women be more trusting of their intuition, right? When these red flags come up?
Great question.
Yeah.
So let's talk about red flags. And I want to also like preface talking about red flags when you're like let's say on the first date with dating with the intention to have him possibly be your person.
Yes.
So I would personally say a red flag on the first date is just he doesn't pay. Like I know we've been talking about money, but like straight up, if he doesn't pay, like if you're attracting a healthy masculine, big red flag, number one. So what's a red flag for you, Marissa?
Ooh. Okay, a red flag for me, I'm sorry, but it's going to be...
Are you really sorry?
No, I'm not sorry. We're being unapologetic all September, okay?
Ooh, I love that.
No, a red flag for me is going to be... Damn. I think me personally, I don't want to be with a man who is looking for a mom. So like if you tell me that you expect your woman to be home cooking every single night, doing your laundry, cleaning after you, or even if he doesn't say that, right? Those words might not even come out of his mouth, but it could be those little signs, right? Of like maybe asking like, oh, do you cook? You know, asking the guy, do you cook? Do you cook? Or do you clean? Do you do your own laundry? Like things like that. I don't know. Those are red flags to me. So like if he says something like, oh yeah, no, I don't cook, but you know, I'm looking for a girl who could come over and like cook for me, you know, 7 days a week. Like, fuck that.
Have you experienced that before?
No.
Wow. Yeah, fuck that. That's definitely a red flag.
Yeah.
Another red flag is when all he does is talk about himself on the date. If it's a first date and all he's doing is talking about himself and not asking you questions.
Huge red flag.
Red flag. Okay, he could be nervous, but like, come on. Are you looking for a man or a boy?
Yeah.
A man is going to be a fucking man.
Facts. I heard on, do you know Shira 7?
No.
Oh my God. I have to send you her videos, but she's like the sprinkle lady.
Okay, I don't know.
So
her.
like she's had her YouTube channel for years, but basically like she guides like women into like finding rich men and like more on the sugar daddy route, but she's hilarious. But she did bring up a good point that like you shouldn't have to really say anything on a date. Like the man should lead the conversation.
Yes.
You should just sit and look pretty.
I love that you brought that up because I feel like sometimes we feel like as women, we have to like keep it going and we have to, you sit back, breathe. If you feel like you're talking a lot, take a deep breath. Let him come up with the next question.
Facts.
Like, yeah, I'm also for like throwing in a question.
Yeah.
Like if like be your authentic self,
yeah.
but also like if you want a man who's going to lead, allow him to fucking lead.
Facts.
Allow him to lead and like ask yourself, are you allowing him to lead?
Yeah. You should not be out of breath. You should not be nervous. You should not be sitting there thinking of questions.
Like you are the fucking prize. Like women, we are the prize, especially for like a man and a woman dating. Men want a feminine woman to just be there. And it's not that he's interviewing you. Like we're interviewing him. Like we know that like we are like the package and we are the prize.
Yeah.
And it's like, is he checking off the boxes? Not am I good enough for him?
Facts.
No. And when you're able to shift your mindset and come from a place of that, it's going to be so much more empowering and dating is going to be fun. I think it's fun.
Yeah, you are the prize. They should want to, men should be the hunters, right? Like when we think about like the alpha male, going back to like that archetype, men should want to hunt and find their woman, right? And they should also want to hunt for you. And also, last thing I'm going to say about that is like, you should feel very, very like at ease and like your nervous system should be super regulated when you're around the right guy. If you're sitting there and your heart's beating so freaking fast and you're sweating and like you're so nervous, like I think a lot of women, like especially in your 20s, like they mistake those feelings for like butterflies and like, oh my God, like he makes me feel so nervous and like good. And it's like, that's not a good feeling. Like you should not feel that way.
Yeah. Like a regulated nervous system means like you feel relaxed around him. Like you feel like you can just trust that like he's going to like take care. If you feel anxiety or if you feel this or feel that, like nervous, that's not a green flag.
Yeah, no. You should feel safe.
Yeah. What about some green flags?
Ooh.
Throw me a green flag.
Green flag.
It's a green flag.
Green flag for me is going to be a man saying that he wants to get married.
Oh,
Like I want to hear that, you know, and like I don't want to just hear it like just because you want me to hear it or you think that I want to hear it.
It's gonna come straight out of his mouth and be like, I'm looking for marriage.
I'm looking for a wife. A wife.
A wife. I ain't looking for no girlfriend. I'm looking for a wife.
Right. Exactly. Green. What about you?
Green flags for the men. When he knows what he wants, like in all areas.
Period.
When he knows what he wants and he's able to communicate that, and when he listens, like I want a man who can listen. Listens and takes fucking action. Okay. Listens and takes action. If a man is listening to me and he knows that my favorite flowers are lilies, they're not. Well, they're one of them, but like they're not my top. But if, in case he's listening, I don't know.
Right, exactly.
Well, the universe is listening, so.
Ooh, manifested.
So if he knows that lilies are my favorite because he heard me say it at dinner, second date, he pulls up with lilies.
Ooh, so attractive.
Bing.
So attractive.
Bing. But I'm also going to stay detached from it. Like I'm not going to like pour all my eggs into his basket because that's when we can become obsessed. And when we become obsessed, we become attached and we chase it. When we chase a butterfly, it flies away. When we sit back and build our garden, it comes to us.
Yeah. Just take those little notes like check. Okay, cool.
Like, of course. And acknowledge him. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Have you been wanting to take a heels class for the longest time, but either you don't have heels classes in your area or you've just been too shy to sign up for that class and go for it? Well, I'm super excited to announce that we are officially online. We have heels classes for everyone and anyone, and you can take them any and everywhere. This has been a long time coming. I know so many of you guys have asked if we have online classes, and we are so excited to announce that our classes are now digital. And we have a specific heels fundamentals workshop that you can check out and really get into your heels bag. And the best part about this program is you're not just jumping into a heels class. You're not just jumping into choreography. You will have a full heels fundamentals beginner course where you're able to learn the basics, the fundamentals, how to walk in your heels, your lines, your shapes, how to feel fluid in your body, how to use your core so that you can feel stable and you don't feel like you're wobbling in your heels every single time. And yes, you might wobble the first 1 or 2 classes, and that's completely normal. But the best part about this is that you can work at your own pace. So you can break up your modules, do 1 module a day. You can repeat them. The heels program also comes with core and flexibility training, which is what we need to succeed in heels. We have to have a nice, strong, and solid core. And we also need to work on our flexibility so that we can hit those moves and feel nice and sexy and fluid. So if this sounds like something that you're trying to get into this year and you're ready to step into the baddie that you're meant to be, I invite you guys to go check out our Rhythm and Pumps online heels training program 1.0. Okay, be a founding member, get your price locked in because honey, we are going to blow up this year. I'm telling y'all, and I'm manifesting this right now. So check it out. $19.99 per month. You guys can cancel at any time if this isn't your thing, if it's not working out for you, if you're not really into it. Cancel at any time. No hidden fees, no contracts. Go to our website, www.realrhythmdanceandfitness.com. Head on over to the On Demand tab and check out our memberships. You will not regret it. Looking forward to seeing you. Ooh, this has been such a good, juicy combo, Jess. Thank you so much.
This is a really, I can't wait to rewatch it and re-listen to it.
I know.
It's so good.
This is going to be one of my favorites. I hope that this becomes one of your favorite episodes as well. And I hope that you got something out of this conversation today.
Yeah. And another thing is you can always come back and listen to this in like a month because sometimes we pick up different things like different times. Like have you ever read a book 1 year and 2 years later, it's totally different. Like this is a good ass podcast.
We covered a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about a lot.
Yeah. There's one thing that I kept wanting to say and I didn't say it. So like real quick, because when you said sorry, it's something that me and my girls have been like really intentionally with. when we say sorry, we call each other out because we don't like, are you sorry for being yourself? Oh, sorry, I was in your way. No, are you sorry for taking up space? So if you say sorry a lot, like, I just want to put this in your awareness. What are you sorry for?
Right.
Because we don't, like, sometimes we are genuinely sorry.
Yeah.
But like,
people will say sorry all the time. People will say sorry if, like, I've heard a woman say sorry because she walked through a door that someone opened for her.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. And a real man, I'm sorry, but they don't find that attractive. If you say sorry a lot on the date, I'm sorry, but, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Instead, you can say, excuse me. That's also like another thing that you could throw in there.
Yeah, I love that.
Like if you like bump into someone at the gym, like you're walking the same direction, just because this happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
I use that as practice. I stop saying, oh, sorry. I say, excuse me. But I say it with a smile. I'm not like, excuse me.
Pardon
Excuse
me.
Pardon. Ooh, that's like the next level. Pardon me.
Pardon.
Ooh.
Pardon me.
Pardon me.
Ooh, oh my God. I would love to be, I know this is super off. Actually, it's not off topic because we're right on topic. I would love to be in Bridgerton. Like being one of those women in that era. I don't know. Like I'm a hopeless romantic. Like I just always see myself being like courted and like, you know,
like stay there, and like visualizing it is also something that will help us with attracting the man. Like closing your eyes and like just envisioning what you want your future to look like with that man, because visualization is so damn powerful.
It is
so damn powerful.
It is. And speaking of, if you guys haven't already checked out my visualization on here, we had one for summer, but we're gonna have a new one coming up, so go check that one out. You don't have to do it just for the summer, okay? You could do it anytime, but it's a good way just to put yourself in that mindset. But this was an amazing episode. So Jess, please tell the people where they can find you.
At Jessica.Tellian. That's my Instagram. Website, astrongeryou.com. Podcast, A Stronger You, on all platforms.
Yes. Yay. Please go listen to Jess' podcast.
Come through.
It's so good.
Yeah, we'll have to get Marissa on mine. We'll have to have you come back on mine.
I would love that.
Yeah. I recently just started having guests back on.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk about some more juiciness. Yeah.
I would love to. And if you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple, please leave a rating and review if you're loving the podcast. Help more people find it, help the podcast grow. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, okay? Don't just be watching videos and not liking, okay? Support your content creators. We're out here working really, really hard. You guys should have seen the struggle of trying to set up this podcast today, okay?
I wish I took some behind the scenes videos so we could have put it in our B-rolls. But at the end of the day, it's not that we're just clicking a simple button, sitting down, and this magically looks like this. Like, no, we take hours out of our day to set this up for you because we want to give it to you. Yeah. And we would just love to see how you are loving this, because like you said, there are and I used to be one. I used to be a silent supporter. Now that I'm a content creator, I realize like, wow, why the fuck was I one?
One freaking like.
Yeah, I didn't realize how important it is. So support your content creators, support your podcasters, support us. We would love to receive it.
Yes.
Us being in our feminine energy, okay?
We are open.
So
please like. But no, for real, please like this video, drop a comment, let us know your favorite part of this conversation today, and also share with a friend. That also helps us out. So share this link.
Share this with a girlfriend who's also like in the same boat as you. Be like, hey, just listen to this podcast and it was so good. I'm curious what your takeaways are.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, you need this. Please don't say that to a friend. They might take it offensively.
Hey girl, you need this shit.
Unless you have a relationship like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have those.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, bitch, you need this.
Right. Girl, I think you need to hear this. No, but for real, please support us. Also, follow us on Instagram. Let's Just Be Real Pod. We'll link Jessica's information in the show notes so you guys can follow her as well. And we'll see you in another episode.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
See ya.